What a roller coaster this has been. We've seen the Canucks lose Markstrom, replace him with Holtby. Seemed to make sense. A lot of money, a lot of term. He's older. Goalies are hard to predict, even though he has been your MVP. Tough loss, but it makes sense with the money. Tanev, to see him go for less than $5 million hurt a little, although he does get injured every year. You can make sense of it. It does suck that it feels like the Canucks didn't treat him well on his way out. Stetcher, he just didn't seem to be Benning and Travis Green's guy. But it would have been nice to have him on a low contract. To see what Toffoli left for was like 4.5 million. And he's off to Montreal. Great character guy, good fit on the team. Also, it's a sunk cost, which they say you shouldn't make your decisions based on what you've sunk into him, but giving up Tyler Madden and a draft pick for a few games of Toffoli and a nice playoff run, and to see him leave for nothing, that hurts, especially when you know that money is going to Virtanen, that money's going to Eriksson, Sutter, Tyler Myers is getting $6 million, Jay Beagle, all these names, all the dollars they make. It sucks when those mistakes come back and you have to live the reality of the mistake. Everybody thought, not everybody, but a lot of people on, say, Vancouver Sports Radio and on Twitter, oh my God, the Canucks are going to have an AHL defense. It's going to be Jalen Chatfield and Rathbone and Ole Ulevi. We're so screwed. We don't have a guy on the right. And all it takes is one move. And now you go from thinking that half of your defensive core is going to be from the AHL. Obviously, he wasn't going to start the season with 3 AHL guys on the roster. And by him, I mean Benning. Pronouns, pal. But you do one trade, and now all of a sudden your top 4 is Hughes, Edler, Myers, Schmidt. Now your third pairing, you could bring back Fantenberg for cheap. Nobody seems to want this guy, even though I like him. For $1 million, you put him on the bottom pairing. He's fine. He does a great job. And then you can cycle your rookie guys through and see who does well in training camp. They better be looking at that tape. And you can float your rookies through and maybe bring in Fantenberg to stabilize it if there's a problem in the third pairing. I've been looking at some highlights of Schmidt. The guy can skate. The guy can take a hit to make a pass. He makes beautiful passes, breakout passes. He can dangle. He can score. He can run a power play. Is he worth $6 million? He's definitely worth a third-round pick. I was worried the way it was going to see the Canucks double back on guys like Tanev and Toffoli and Stetcher and then have them leave them because they felt disrespected. It really felt like, oh my God, are the Canucks going to make a terrible desperation move? Are we going to end up horribly overpaying for not a bad player, but an inefficient player, a bad contract? To only give up a third for Schmidt is fantastic. He's making just about $6 million for another 4 or 5 years. He's not even 30 yet. He's 29. So you like his age. You like that he doesn't seem to have any kind of history of injuries. He did have a wellness violation, and he is known as a gregarious player. But I'm hoping that gregarious personality has less to do with the Roxy or whatever club the kids go to now, or being on Tinder or whatever people do, and more to do with being a good character guy in the room, which I think he could do. The guy is left-handed and he plays the right side. In a league that is desperate for anyone to play the right side with skill, because most Canadian players, they're taught to use their dominant hand on the top. So that's why, even though most people are right-handed, when they write or do whatever, when they're actually playing hockey, you shoot left-handed. And in America, you put your dominant hand on the bottom, so they end up playing right-handed. That's right, like Phil Kessel's a righty, and most skilled defensemen end up being these left-hand shots. So to have a guy that could not only play the right side, but could flip over and play the left side too, is extremely valuable. I mean, for a team that's going to be facing cap problems with Hughes and Pettersson, Demko, hopefully not Virtanen, another $6 million guy on defense? I mean, how many $6 million players can you have on your team, let alone in your defensive core? It really makes the Myers signing feel like I don't know why Benning was so into Myers. I mean, the guy is fairly decent at breakout passes, movement. He's mean, but he takes a lot of stupid penalties. And when he gets tired in his zone, he just sits in front of that net, and he is a liability. So I'm thinking Schmidt is really going to easily surpass him, and it's going to put Myers as now the fourth best defenseman on the team. Could you trade Myers? Could he be exposed to Seattle? Oh, fucking wonderful. Anyways, all of a sudden with one move, we've seen that things aren't so bad after all. I think Schmidt is a really great pickup. I'd be very interested to see how they manage to cap in the future. But for now, I feel like they definitely didn't overpay in terms of what they gave up. We'll see how it goes with the money, and we'll see what they end up doing. If you could move Besser, if you could move Besser and get another maybe a cheaper forward or another defender. Oh my God! If you could move like Besser and Myers, there's probably like a no movement or no trade clause on Myers' contract. I would imagine. Besser, I'd like to see go. I think he's someone people aren't really talking about when they talk about the cap crunch that the Canucks are going to face. I think he gets qualified for like $7 million on this contract. I think he is a skilled guy, and he had a great debut, and maybe he's just been hampered by injuries, but I've not been impressed by Besser in the last 2 years, and I really don't think we're in a league where every single dollar counts on where you're putting it. I don't think you can afford to have a guy that is not getting it done, and Besser does not get it done in the playoffs when it counts. He's not able to find himself room. He's got the skill, but he doesn't have it when it counts. And to be giving a guy $6 or $7 million, I think Besser's got to go to free up some cap room, put that money into Hughes, Pettersson, and improving the rest of your team. You need to find more efficient people. A Toffoli at $4 million, oh, that would have been nice. And every time you see these guys leave the Canucks and they go somewhere for like a pretty reasonable amount, Tanev for 4-ish, 4.5, Toffoli for 4.2, Stetcher for like 1.7. It really hurts to think, man, they could have stayed on the team and probably would have taken less. Or the fact that the Canucks are potentially a team on the rise, that they've had success in this team. But they also needed to upgrade the team. And you can't keep everybody and also rejig your team. You have to, people have to go. And when it's your home team, you obviously, you fall in love with a lot of these players. I mean, people even love Eriksson. And look what he does. Although they obviously would be happy to see him go. So, Tanev, I think, is a guy who could win a cup for you as long as he's always on your second pairing. Second pairing or below. And maybe filling in on the top. But for $4 million, what he brings will be missed. Toffoli at $4 million, I wouldn't like him at 5 or 6. 6 would be hugely overpaying. 5 is probably what he would have got in a regular year. So to have him at 4 would have been nice. He's not really that fast, and doesn't really score a lot, but he's just one of those glue guys that just kind of tends to get it done. He's kind of like the opposite of Besser, where he doesn't have as impressive stats as Besser. He's not as impressive to watch as Besser, usually, individually, but when you watch him in these playoff games, he just was able to get more done. And to have him at forward would be nice. To have, Stetcher got overrun. He's small. He really struggled when the Canucks, as a team, were struggling to break out of their zone. But to pay that guy a little bit to play in your third pairing, that's what it's all about. It's about finding these efficient contracts, because this is a tough cap to stay under, and it's flat, and it's probably going to be flat for potentially 2 more years. Oh my God, please don't say 3 more years. We shall see. So far, a third pick for Schmidt. I can't wait to see him on the ice. What do you guys think? Let me know.